Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. In Genoa City, power is no way simply held, it's fought for, clawed back, and defended with ruthless perfection, and as the week of January 19th explodes onto the oil, Victor Newman formally again proves that when his conglomerate is hovered, he doesn't simply respond, he goes to war. Not only is the Black Knight preparing for an each-out battle with the ever-colluding Matt Clark, but he's also set up fresh cause to revitalize one of his oldest, most combustive feuds, Jack Abbott. The timing couldn't be more unpredictable. With Cain Ashby's manipulations still splashing through Newman Enterprises like a seismic earthquake, Victor deploys his most dangerous munitions, his own children. Adam and Victoria, long divided by resentment, distrust, and old scars, are forced into an uneasy alliance, getting Genoa City's most doubtful label platoon as they scramble to undo the damage Cain has formerly foisted. Meanwhile, Sienna still steps into the part of silent agitator, teeing up information that could shift the balance of power entirely. Billy Abbott finds himself trapped between the fury of his ex-wife and the disappointment of his current gal, and Audra and Holden eventually decide it's time to stop burning islands and extend an olive branch to Amy. However, in this city, indeed, justifications come with ulterior motives. On January 19th, the Newman-Matt Clark showdown takes a decisive turn when Victor receives precious intel from Sienna, information so pointed and so impeccably timed that it reminds everyone watching just how dangerous it's to underrate someone who listens further than she speaks. The disclosure energizes Victor's resoluteness, stropping his formerly murderous focus, while Victoria and Adam set aside times of contest to cover Newman Enterprises from collapse, each apprehensive that one misstep could hand Cain, or worse, Matt Clark, the upper hand. At the same time, Nick Newman proves he's every bit his father's son by stubbornly ignoring Croker's orders, brushing off concern and putting himself at threat in a way that leaves those who love him deeply unsettled. Behind the scenes, pressures boil over in ways that are as uncomfortable as they're revealing, with whispers of drama erupting far beyond the boardroom, the kind of so unhappy and disturbing chaos that reminds suckers the real battles aren't always scripted. By January 20th, Victor isn't just conniving, he's preparing, physically and mentally, to go head-to-head with Matt Clark, signaling that this is no longer a war fought solely through delegates and paperwork. As Victor sharpens himself for the coming clash, Chelsea seizes an occasion to prove her fidelity and capability to Nikki, stepping up in a way that could review her place within the Newman rout. Away, Victoria does what only an ex-wife can do with ruinous effectiveness. She holds Billy Abbott responsible for his reckless choices, forcing him to defy consequences he'd rather avoid. It's a reckoning that cuts deeper than any commercial loss, reminding Billy that particular failures frequently soak far worse than professional bones. January 21st delivers the kind of combustive misreading that only Genoa City can produce, when Victor stumbles upon Nikki and Jack in what appears to be a compromising situation, and knowing Victor's fabulous tendency to overreact, indeed the most innocent explanation feels like a match tossed onto gasoline. Whether they're simply participating tea or attending an AA meeting hardly matters. In Victor's eyes, Jack's propinquity to Nikki is a provocation, and the Abbott primogenitor may soon pay the price for simply being in the wrong room at the wrong time. As always, Billy's chaos continues to ripple outward, and this time Sally finds herself blindsided by her mate's questionable decision timber, forced to question whether love is enough when paired with habitual tone sabotage. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers refuses to be sidelined, standing her ground with Cain midweek in a battle that crackles with defiance and slightly contained fury. She's Phyllis, hear her roar, and Cain snappily learns that pushing her is no way without consequence. By January 22nd, Victor's fury has set up a new target yet again, as he puts Jack exactly on notice for what feels like the 1000th time, issuing another trouble that carries the full weight of decades of bad blood and undetermined treason. At the same time, Sharon's concern for Nick deepens into genuine fear as his condition worsens, validating every instinct she's had and emphasizing the cost of Nick's stubborn turndown to decelerate down. Across city, Victoria delivers an advised blow to Cain, striking him where it hurts most and proving she is, unmistakably, her father's son, strategic, grim, and hugely unafraid to draw blood when necessary. And just when it seems the chaos can't conceivably consolidate further, January 23rd brings fresh cracks to the foundation of multiple connections, with trouble brewing ominously for Abby and Devon, their formerly solid bond hovered by implied pressures and undetermined conflicts. Mariah, unfit to escape the agony she's been plunged into, receives a creepy communication that drags her deeper into emotional fermentation, suggesting that the history is far from finished with her yet. Eventually, in a rare moment of restraint and reflection, Audra and Holden choose to make amends with Amy, offering peace where there has long been disunion. However, in Genoa City, indeed an olive branch can conceal frustrations. As the week closes, one verity becomes inarguable: Victor Newman's war is far from over, alliances are shifting in dangerous ways, and every character caught in the crossfire must decide how important they're willing to lose in order to survive. The fallout from that explosive week doesn't settle, it metastasizes. As Genoa City moves forward, the consequences of Victor Newman's advised pushes begin to surface in ways no bone completely anticipated, and the man himself shows no sign of retreat. However, Victor becomes more dangerous once he's convinced he's justified, if anything. The intel Sienna handed continues to echo through every corner of Newman Enterprises, forcing directors, abettors, and adversaries likewise to reassess their footing. What originally appeared to be a single pressure point against Matt Clark reveals itself to be commodity far more insidious, a web of influence that Victor can strain or loosen at will. And as Victor sharpens his focus on Matt, his supplemental vision cinches onto Jack Abbott with renewed hostility, the old contest glaring hotter than ever. Jack, for his part, senses the shift incontinently. Times of surviving Victor Newman have tutored him to fate the warning signs, the unforeseen silence, the precisely measured words, the way Victor's eyes loiter just a second too long. Whatever Victor saw between Jack and Nikki wasn't simply misneu, it was weaponized, stored down for unborn use, and Jack knows that the blow, when it comes, will be precise and merciless. Meanwhile, Adam and Victoria's forced alliance begins to strain under the weight of their participated charge. On the face, they present a united front, but beneath that veneer lies a battleground of undetermined resentment and colliding doctrines. Victoria believes in control through structure, through rules and scale, while Adam thrives in chaos, seeing occasion where others see collapse. Their collaboration becomes a high-stakes cotillion, each testing the other's limits, each quietly wondering whether the bigger trouble is Kane Ashby, or the stock sitting across the table. Yet despite their differences, results follow. Damage is contained. Bleeding stops. Newman Enterprises doesn't fall. And Victor watches it all with a bloodsucker's satisfaction, knowing that by forcing his children together, he's strengthened his conglomerate, indeed if he's widened the cracks in his family. Nick's condition, still, refuses to be managed so fluently. His asseveration on ignoring medical advice escalates from intransigence to recklessness, and Sharon finds herself decreasingly helpless as she watches him push himself beyond reason. Every discussion ends the same way, Nick diverting, minimizing, averring he's fine, while Sharon's solicitude grows heavier, morphing into dread. There's a moment, quiet but ruinous, when she realizes Nick isn't just risking his health, he's daring fate to prove him wrong. And fate, in Genoa City, has a vicious sense of timing. The ripple effect reaches Faith, who senses commodity is wrong indeed when no bone says it audibly, and suddenly Nick's turndown to decelerate down threatens to fracture further than just his own body. Billy Abbott, as always, remains his own worst adversary. Victoria's battle leaves him exposed, stripped of defenses, forced to defy how frequently he miscalculations impulse for instinct. And when Sally eventually voices her blindsided shock at his rearmost opinions, Billy finds himself cornered emotionally, unfit to argue without admitting fault. For Sally, it's not just about the choice he made, it's about the consummation that Billy's chaos isn't situational, it's abecedarian. The pattern is inarguable, and it forces her to ask whether loving Billy means permanently bracing for impact. Meanwhile, Phyllis's standoff with Kane continues to resonate, their battle marking a turning point neither of them completely acknowledges. Kane underestimates Phyllis at his pitfall, mistaking her emotional intensity for volatility rather of resoluteness. Phyllis, still, is operating with clarity, she knows exactly what she's fighting for, and more importantly, what she refuses to lose. Her turndown to back down rattles Kane, planting the first seeds of mistrustfulness in his precisely constructed strategy. Victoria's advised strike against Kane proves ruinous in ways that go far beyond the boardroom. She doesn't just attack his plans, she undermines his confidence, exposing vulnerabilities he believed were unnoticeable. It's a memorial that Victoria doesn't simply inherit Victor's ruthlessness, she refines it. Watching from the murk, Victor recognizes the moment for what it's race in action. Pride flickers across his face, transitory but unmistakable, as he sees his son execute a move he himself might have made times before. Yet indeed Victor understands that empowering Victoria comes with threat. Strong heirs at law don't stay biddable ever. As pressures rise away, Abby and Devon's troubles still consolidate, their issues spoiling beneath polite exchanges and forced grins. The strain between them isn't explosive, it's insidious, marked by moments of distance, missed cues, and emotional dissociate. Every undetermined argument becomes another crack in their foundation, and while both try to move themselves it's temporary, the Verity looms heavy. Commodity abecedarian has shifted, and pretending else only detainments the ineluctable. Mariah, still trapped in the cerebral fate of her fire, finds no escape when a haunting communication arrives, dragging her back into an agony she desperately wants to leave before. The communication isn't overtly hanging, it doesn't need to be. Its power lies in recognition, in the knowledge that someone out there knows exactly where to strike. And as Mariah spirals, those closest to her begin to realize that mending isn't direct, and safety is no way guaranteed. Audra and Holden's decision to make amends with Amy, though putatively sincere, raises eyebrows across Genoa City. In a city where justifications frequently mask strategy, their olive branch invites scrutiny. Amy herself accepts cautiously, apprehensive that remission doesn't bear forgetting. The gesture may mark the morning of conciliation, or it may simply be the opening move in a longer game. Either way, it signals a subtle shift in alliances, one that could have unlooked for consequences down the line. And through it all, Victor Newman remains the gravitational center, the force around which every plot bends. His brewing battle with Matt Clark elevation closer, the pressure thickening with each passing day. Victor doesn't rush, he no way has. He prepares, he positions, and when the moment arrives, he strikes with inviting force. Matt Clark, inspired but ignorant of just how deeply Victor's shanks are formerly buried, continues to play his hand, not realizing he's been overreached at nearly every turn. The coming clash won't be clean. It won't be quick. And when it's over, Genoa City will bear the scars. As old battles reignite, new alliances fracture, and particular demons resurface, one Verity becomes insolvable to ignore. The storm only grows darker as the reverberations from Victor Newman's warpath spread through Genoa City like a slow, deliberate contagion, infecting connections, commitment, and long-held visions of safety. In the fate of his rearmost pushes, Victor doesn't lounge in palm, he sharpens it. Every discussion becomes a chess move, every silence a trouble. Matt Clark may believe he's still an active player in this battle, but Victor formerly treats him like a problem that's been listed for elimination rather than one still under debate. The Black Knight's confidence is nipping, embedded not in arrogance but in medication, and those closest to him begin to feel the rough weight of his certainty. Nikki senses it incontinently. There's a familiar dispassionateness in Victor's focus, the kind that signals he's crossed an internal line and won't turn back. Whatever Victor plans coming won't simply neutralize Matt Clark, it'll shoot a communication to anyone additional foolish enough to test the Newman conglomerate. Jack Abbott, meanwhile, finds himself trapped in a familiar but no less dangerous position: collateral damage in Victor's grim pursuit of dominance. The so-called compromising situation with Nikki becomes an accessible reason, a defense Victor uses to reignite a feud that no way truly failed. Jack insists to himself that he has nothing to hide, that his connection to Nikki is embedded in respect, participated history, and collective recovery, but none of that matters when Victor decides to rewrite the narrative. In Genoa City, perception is power, and Victor wields it mercilessly. Jack begins to notice subtle shifts: business connections growing distant, doors still closing, whispers following him into apartments where silence formerly saluted him. Victor doesn't attack head-on. He erodes. And Jack knows that formerly corrosion begins, collapse is only a matter of time. As Victor tightens his grip on the battleground, Adam and Victoria's alliance reaches a precarious tilting point. The palms they've secured together only heighten the pressure between them, each success emphasizing just how redoubtable they're, and how dangerous their contest could come if diverted inward. Adam bristles under Victoria's structured authority, interpreting it as a lack of trust, while Victoria views Adam's extemporary tactics as reckless arrears staying to explode. Their arguments are sharp, controlled, and laced with times of undetermined bitterness. Yet indeed in conflict, they remain effective, a testament to the complicated bond that ties them together. Victor watches these clashes with calculated interest, understanding that disunion creates fire, and fire, if contained, can be weaponized. What he doesn't completely regard for is how close that fire is to burning out of his control. Nick's turn down to heed medical advice begins to exact a visible risk, transubstantiating concern into alarm. Sharon's fear escalates as small warning signs accumulate, moments of weakness Nick skirmishes out, setbacks in focus he refuses to admit. His asseveration on pushing forward isn't embedded in denial alone, it's fueled by pride, by the belief that decelerating down is a form of rendition. Sharon, still, recognizes the verity Nick refuses to face this isn't strength, it's defiance in disguise. The strain seeps into their exchanges, creating distance where closeness formerly lived. And as Nick continues to go with his health, the threat isn't limited to himself. His choices ripple outward, destabilizing the fragile equilibrium of those who depend on him, setting the stage for consequences that can no longer be laid over. Billy Abbott's helical deepens as responsibility closes in from all sides. Victoria's before battle lingers like an open crack, her words replaying in his mind with cruel clarity. For the first time, Billy can't dismiss her review as bitterness or control. It rings uncomfortably true. Sally's disappointment cuts indeed deeper, not because she switches out, but because she doesn't. Her quiet reassessment, her measured distance, forces Billy to defy the possibility that he's exhausting the tolerance of the one person who truly believed in him. The consummation is sobering, yet Billy struggles to restate sapience into change. Old habits die hard, and in Genoa City, tone mindfulness doesn't always lead to redemption. PHYLLIS, no way one to retreat, leans completely into her battle with Cain, refusing to let the pressure dissipate into undetermined hostility. Their standoff evolves into a cerebral chess match, each probing for weakness, each induced the other will blink first. Cain, habituated to operating from a position of quiet control, finds himself unsettled by PHYLLIS's intensity. She doesn't curt. She doesn't barricade. She stands her ground with a ferocity that forces Cain to reassess his hypotheticals. For PHYLLIS, this isn't just about power or pride, it's about survival. And as she digs in, it becomes clear that Cain may have undervalued just how far she's willing to go to cover what's hers. Victoria's strike against Cain continues to pay tips, unraveling vestments of his strategy he believed were securely hidden. She exposes sins not through brute force, but through perfection, targeting the one thing Cain values most: control. Each calculated move sends a clear communication: she sees him, understands him, and isn't hysterical to strike him piece by piece. Victor observes this with an admixture of pride and caution. Victoria's elaboration into a force independent of his influence is both reassuring and threatening. She's getting exactly what he trained her to be and exactly what could one day challenge him. Away, Abby and Devon's relationship drifts near to a breaking point, the silence between them growing heavier than any argument. Their struggles manifest in missed connections and implied resentment, each assuming the other will ultimately bridge the gap. But hypotheticals are dangerous, and in the absence of honest communication, distance becomes habit. The trouble to their bond isn't dramatic or unforeseen, it's gradational, grim, and all the more ruinous for it. Musketeers begin to notice. So do adversaries. In Genoa City, vulnerability is infrequently overlooked. Mariah's haunting communication refuses to loosen its grip, dragging her deeper into emotional fermentation. The cerebral scars she carries renew, raw and unhealed, as fear collides with prostration. Every shadow feels sharper, every sound amplified. Those around her struggle to offer comfort, doubtful how to reach someone trapped in an agony that refuses to end. The communication serves as a cruel memorial that trauma doesn't respect timelines, and check is no way guaranteed. As Mariah fights to recapture her footing, the possibility that her history may not be finished with her looms ominously. Audra and Holden's conciliation with Amy begins to shift dynamics in subtle but meaningful ways. While outwardly peaceful, the armistice introduces new misgivings. Amy's conservative acceptance reflects hard-earned wisdom. She knows too well that remission doesn't abolish memory. Their conditional alliance raises questions about motive and timing, especially in a city where strategic hookups frequently feint as emotional judgments. Whether this peace holds or fractures under pressure remains to be seen, but its actuality alone alters the balance, intimating at alliances yet to form, or buckle. And above it all, Victor Newman stands smooth, the mastermind of chaos and order in equal measure. His impending showdown with Matt Clark elevation closer, the pressure thickening with ineluctability. Victor doesn't need theatrics. His power lies in ineluctability, in the sense that formerly he commits, the outgrowth is no longer in mistrustfulness, only the cost. As Genoa City braces for the impact, one verity becomes sorrowfully clear: this isn't just another chapter in Victor Newman's long history of battles. It's a turning point. When the dust eventually settles, alliances will be redrawn, connections ever altered, and the cost of crossing Victor Newman will be etched into the lives of everyone who dared to stand in his way.